what is happening, guys, around the world. I want you to stare. Like, really stare. Look at me. I want to hear, how are you going to get married? I want to see the awkward stares. I want to hear, oh my God, what is that on his face? How are you going to finish school? How are you going to achieve this? How are you going to have children? I want to see you giving me the side eye when I walk past you. How is he going to get fixed or cured? That was my favorite one. These remarks that I've just listed out, you could argue that I could finish or bury anyone, but not me. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ali Razvi. I'm 28. I'm from Edinburgh, Scotland, United Kingdom. And this is my story. I'm going to kind of break it down in a type of conversation type style. I'm going to come at you raw, uncensored, unfiltered, and I'm going to keep it 100. So yeah, this is me. This is me. How I'm going to try and break this down is going by what I've been through, how I got through it, and how you guys, whoever's watching this, can get through it. My aim of this conversation is that if you're able to take a little bit, or if it makes you smile or even make you think, oh, actually, maybe I can try that, then that's progress. And when I'm going to have this conversation with you, I'm not going to have a conversation from a victim's perspective. Although many people could argue that I am a victim, but I'm going to be a voice of reason, a voice of understanding, and from a loving perspective. Shout out to Natasha Medler from Women's Unity Movement. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share. And yeah, massive shout out to you actually. I read your testimony and you hit the ball at the park. So people, whoever's watching this, watch her testimony, listen to her testimony. She's doing some awesome work. So, let me begin. What is vitiligo? Vitiligo is a condition where there is a lack of pigmentation in the body and a lack of melanin. And as a result, it would turn white. My skin would turn white. When did it start? It started when I was 7 years old. I was young, very young. You know, it started very small underneath my eye. And, you know, my mum and dad noticed it. I didn't really notice it. It was so small, you know. I was too busy playing outside, you know, being social, playing in the dirt, you know. Playing out with friends, playing football, you know. But of course, your parents obviously notice these type of things. So over time, from 7 years to about 11, 12, it started to get a little bit bigger and bigger. And, you know, it got to the stage, okay, mum and dad would say, okay, let's go and see a doctor. Went to see a doctor. We've seen so many doctors. So many doctors. I can't count how many doctors I've seen about this because back then we didn't know what it was. eventually, you know, when we did get the diagnosis and find out what it was, um, I was told that we'll try this cream, these types of medication, you know, poked and prodded out, you know, the standard things. And I was like, you know, okay, let's see where this takes us at a very young age as well. So after seeing so many doctors and so many specialists, after so many creams, after so many treatments, you could imagine being a child from about the age of 12, you know, going into high school. It's you could call it, I don't know how you would define it. It could be difficult in somebody else's life. You could define it that as being difficult. How did I feel about it? I was so, you know, more of the fact that I was trying to do it and help out mum and dad, really, because they were so worried. I wanted to do it for them. I wanted to, you know, see the specialist for them. I wanted to see this doctor for them. At the time when I was young, I was too busy focusing on other things, like just wanted to play. It was never on my mind until I really hit the age of puberty. And of course, that's when it started to spread a little bit more. It started to, you know, accelerate a little bit faster. Hormones are raging. And that's when, you know, that's when I started, okay, maybe there is something going on here. Maybe there is something wrong. You know, you notice the stares, you notice the sly whispers underneath people's voices, you know, the questions of doubt. But I was just, you know, I rolled with it. I rolled with it. To the point where I almost forgot about that I had this condition. As you grow older, we live in a society where we hear definitions of what is beautiful and what is not beautiful. I think at that point, that's when I realized, okay, do I use society's definition of what is beautiful, or do I use my definition of what is beautiful? Me being able to develop that understanding at a young age, you know, that's definitely a feather in the cap for me. You know, when you're walking down the street, you see people's necks snap back at you, and like, or oh my God, what's that on his face? As well as, you know, societal pressures that may drive them to say that. You could argue that it was a difficult time, but hey, I'm here now. I made it. And I understand there's people out there that don't have the tools or the understanding to kind of feel the same way as I do. So the question is, love. How do you love? How do you achieve self-love? When I'm going to tell you my process of self-love, know that I'm just like you. We eat, we sleep, we breathe the same. I know it's cliche, you know. If I can do it, you can do it. But it's true. I'm nobody special. I'm just like you. You know, throughout life, we have trials and tribulations, but I was under the impression, you know what? Ali, what can you do to control this? What can you do in order to make yourself happy? Those are the types of questions that I kept on saying, how and why, where. I think it also kind of helped that I had the support from my mum, my dad, my brother and my sister. They kind of made me feel normal when I was outside. Again, I was so young, so young. But I do have a lot of credit to give to my mum and my dad, my brother and my sister, because they most definitely felt the pressures of society, you know, being in an Asian household. I am an Asian man. So there's certain types of cultural practices and cultural obligations and cultural pressures that my parents must have felt as well. You know, the whole aspect of, you know, how are you going to get your son married? You know, who's going to have kids with him? Or, you know, how's he going to be happy? You know, like, how are you going to achieve this? And hearing that, it was like, you know, well, why? Why are you saying this? I'm so young. I'll worry about that time when I get there. We'll cross that bridge when I get there. The best one that I heard out of all of them is that, how's he going to get cured and how's he going to get fixed? Fixed, you know, fixed. That was a good one. And that's when I heard that, and looking at my parents and looking at my immediate family, to think, forget about me, but could you imagine somebody coming up to your parents or your family and hearing about the person that they love, how are you going to fix him? That was the turning point for me. I was about 15. And it was like, okay, Ali, there's so many definitions flying at you, but how are you going to take control of this? You know, all these adult questions firing at you. How are you gonna take this? Are you gonna? You could also argue that I was at a crossroads. I was at a crossroads, and it was like I could either take in a direction of, like, you know, woe is me, and go into negativity and a depression-like state, and, you know, take on board what their definitions were, or I can redefine what I feel and how I want to handle it, rather than society labeling me and how I should feel, what I should feel, and when I should feel it. It was at that point, it was, okay, you need to do what you do in regards to how can you assert your power on this? How do you put your stamp? How do you leave your mark? And that was through self-love. So self-love. What is self-love? What is love? That's $1 million question, isn't it? What is love? A wise man once told me 2 things. Ali, if you do not love yourself, how do you expect anybody else to love you? Second thing, love yourself so that love is not a stranger when it comes to you, and it will. Those 2 statements, I really had to think about that one, those two especially. How do I expect anybody else to love me if I don't love myself? And I want people, everyone wants to feel loved. I want to feel loved. No doubt whoever's watching this video, you would like to feel loved. So it begins with yourself. Point number 2. Love yourself so that love won't be a stranger to you for when it comes. I don't want love to be a stranger to me. What happens when something strange or alien approaches you? You kind of back off. You might be scared, you might be frightened. I didn't want to feel those emotions. I didn't want to feel scared. I didn't want to feel frightened. I wanted to embrace it. So self-love, to me, it begins with 4 key characteristics. For myself, again, there's probably no right or wrong answer, but for myself, for me, 4 characteristics involved acceptance. Within myself, you have to accept it within yourself before society does. How do you expect society to accept you if you do not accept it? Once you accept something, you're able to establish control over that. whatever that may be. You insert your power when you accept it. Because if you don't accept it, that can control you. And that's what you don't want. That's what I didn't want. I didn't want this to control me, so I had to accept it. I think originally when I accepted it, after hearing, seeing specialists and whatnot, that they couldn't find a cure, it couldn't be fixed. Accepting that I couldn't find a cure, and I questioned myself before that, why does there have to be a cure? Why does it have to be fixed? How about I accept that so I can take control of it? See what I mean? Second part of the characteristics of self-love. Patience. Know that accepting it isn't going to happen overnight. It's going to take time for you to understand, to understand and establish the parts of how to accept it, when to accept it, if you want to accept it. Third point, trust. Trust in the process of your journey. Trust within yourself. Fourth characteristic, understanding. Try and understand yourself. I would always say to myself, okay, this person is looking at me in a particular way. I know what I have. I know why they're looking. I either A, feel bad, or B, tell yourself and try to understand, okay, they haven't reached that level of understanding themselves, whether it be the lack of knowledge or education, or they might not be feeling confident themselves, which is why they'll stare or, whisper something under their breath. But understanding is the fourth characteristic. Being able to understand what is within yourself. What are you made out of? So we have acceptance, patience, trust, and understanding. I'm not saying this is easy. Some people wait a lifetime to try and establish those. And it's easier said than done. But this is just me, and this is just the way I did it. And if you're able just to kind of pick up on certain elements of it, then like I said before, it's progress. So how do we do it? How do we establish self-love? In short, in a nutshell, better communication is the answer. Better communication within yourself. What types of communications do we have? We have visual, we have verbal, we have written. So in this part, I kind of want to break down a couple of exercises that I would recommend for anybody. Whatever you may be going through, whatever you may be, feeling, good and bad. This is a couple of exercises that I would recommend. As I've said, different types of communications. Talk to yourself. People think, this person's mad. They're talking to themselves. There's nothing mad about it. If you have something in your head, and we know that our minds and our brain is filled with so many things that can be overwhelming, that can cause stress, that can cause it, people to break down. And all we feel is that how do we create some space and how do we create some room here in order to function, in order just to breathe? How do we free up mental capacity for other things to process effectively? Talking to yourself is one of them. Why? How? Whatever you've got in your mind, say it out loud to yourself. communicate with yourself. Actively say what you have in your mind. The process goes up from here, in your mind, into your mouth, into the world, and back in. So you listen to what you have just spoken, whatever the issue is going on here. When you listen to what you've said, you're able to establish, okay, that sounds absolutely crazy or irrational. You're hearing this. You can interpret better. So talking to yourself out loud is definitely one of them. I know it's helped me in certain situations. I know it's helped other people in certain situations. So talking to yourself, really talk to yourself. Whatever's going on here, say it out loud. You'd be surprised. And you never know, you might develop a different angle or a different way of understanding a certain situation. Another exercise would be a written exercise, for example, a journal or cue cards. Cue cards are more my favorite because they're more, in your face type style, You write down on a cue card, for example, I am beautiful, I am understood. Put them around your house or in your room. When you wake up first thing in the morning, the first thing you see is that cue card. Gives you a reminder. Again, we're training the mind here. We're training the brain here. Why? So it can flourish, so it can grow, so it can be stronger. Cue cards are a great one. Another one which may pose a bit of difficulties. God, I love a good ice cream, man, Another one which could pose a bit of difficulty is look at yourself in the mirror. Now we're looking at the visual aspect of communication. Stand in the mirror and look at yourself. And ask yourself, what do I see? What are you getting back from the reflection? Try to embrace the emotional response that you're going to receive from the mirror. Again, this is not for everybody. But I have advised this to some people and it has worked. Again, I used to do this also. Try and embrace the emotional response. If you feel like laughing, then laugh. If you feel like crying, then cry. If you feel like smiling, smile, because you're communicating one-to-one. Like I am with the camera, I'm getting my reflection back. I'm observing the visual communication of myself. So those are the different types of exercises that I would recommend. Again, you have writing in a journal, writing your thoughts down, because when you write down, it's coming out of here. You're freeing mental capacity. You're freeing up space for you to think and process even better. Allowing room to grow. Allowing room to breathe. I hope what I've said in this video has helped. I hope it's made, a difference. And I'm going to leave you with this. Every day won't be a good day. But you can make every day an all right day. Much love. I've been Ali Razvi. This has been my story. Take care.